Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Gary here. Been on here in a minute. I haven't been on here in a minute. We're going into the holidays, as we all know, and it's been just crazy over here on my end. And it's probably crazy on your end as well. Doing all Santa Claus's shopping for them. Pull the wool over your children's eyes one more year. Boy, they grow up so fast, don't they? I don't have children, but I have a lot of friends that do. Topic of the conversation today is something that I think it's more warranted to discuss. I did a little bit of research about this before I did it today. I don't keep notes. I don't write stuff down. What I'll just do, I'll research something for a few hours and then I'll let it mull over my head and tosses back and forth in my brain off the inside of my skull, and then I'll get my coffee in me, or I'll take a shower, or I'll do some stuff around the house, and it'll all come to a head, and I gotta talk about it. That's how I take notes in my head. So, but I did do some research on. I Googled this morning the percentage of young Americans out of when they graduate high school to go to college, and it says 60 to 61% of young Americans that graduate high school go off to colleges in America. 60%. That's over half. Which brings me to my subject, which I feel very strongly about because I didn't go to college. I actually went to 1 year of a technical college, which was a total mistake. And I went because it was important for my father to say to his colleagues on the job, "Oh, my son goes to college. Yes, he does. He's going to a trade school. Yes, yes." So you guys kind of figure out what I just did. Anyway, it's not for, what I'm saying is it's not for everyone. And I if you've watched some of my past episodes, and I don't expect you to go back and look at them, there's a bunch. I didn't like school. I didn't do well in school. I was an average C student. I scored a couple D's along the way. Stuff like trigonometry, geometry, algebra 1 part 1, algebra 1 part 2. Who uses that? And who uses that shit? Unless you're a scientist or you making rockets for a living. But that said, so college isn't for everyone, is what I'm saying. And it wasn't for me. High school, I just barely got out of high school. You know, I graduated. I have a diploma, but God, I hated school. So it's not for everyone. And I think parents, and I could say this. I could say this because I was in a situation like this. I think parents are keeping up with the Joneses. They're competing with their neighbors, or they're competing with their colleagues at work. My son's getting ready to, your son's getting ready to graduate high school. Your daughter's getting ready to graduate high school. What are their plans? Over cocktail parties, over drinks, over dinner parties. What's your daughter going to do when they graduate high school? And it's peer pressure, even as a young adult being a parent, I imagine. I don't know. I'm not a parent. Don't have children, never been married. But I know, I've seen it. And then they go, well, I don't know. I haven't talked to my daughter or my son about it. Or, yeah, we've discussed it. We're not sure. Or we've looked at some universities. We have some brochures. We've seen a few campuses. Not really getting into the head or the psyche of your son or daughter. Oh, they don't care. I'm sure they care, but I think it's a pass. I think it's something that they don't really thoroughly examine. What's going on in Johnny's head or little Sally's head? Do you really, sit down with your daughter, sit down with your son. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What are your expectations? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your dreams? What would you like to do for work? And some people don't know what they want to do until they hit a later part of their life, like I was. I mean, I was in my late 20s and early 30s before I discovered what I wanted to do. And even after I started cutting meat for a living, I really didn't know what I wanted to do until I hit my mid to late 40s. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to be a meat cutter. Which, that's a story within itself. If I had a nickel for every time I got turned down in a social setting because I cut meat for a living, I'd have a lot of money in the bank. Because it's not being a grunt, working. I know I'm jumping off topic. I'm going to go back to the college in a minute. But working as a tradeswoman or a tradesman, meaning working in a grocery store, in my case, cutting meat, or someone who sews clothes as a seamstress for a living, sews women's dresses. A woman does that for a living. Or someone is a plumber, has to clean the shit out of your toilet because you threw too much stuff in the toilet. That job. Or someone who's fixing your heating or air conditioning in your house. Those are trades jobs. That is a very accepted form of a career in Western civilization, but it's frowned on by scholars that think that you didn't go to college. Well, what, Gary? That's an awful bold blanket statement that they're frowned on. Well, I've seen it. I've seen it in living color throughout my life. That it's an acceptable form of education in the Western society, Western culture as we are in the United States, to send your kid off to college. Well, I'm going to better my daughter by sending her off to a college, and she's going to join a sorority. It's going to broaden her horizons. It's going to make her a woman. Maybe you'll learn how to spread her legs and take some dick, or party your ass off all night and sleep with strangers. Maybe. You know, I know what goes on in sororities, and I know what goes on in fraternities. How do I know this? Because I have friends. I've made friends throughout my life, which is accepted in Western civilization. You make friends, right? That had went to college and went to fraternities. And a lot of the stories I've heard are horror stories. Guys don't remember half their first or second year of college because they were face down in a mattress, hung over out the ass, sleeping with lots of women, maybe getting an STD. I mean, it's a party lifestyle. For some it is. I'd say for most it is. Some of the people I've talked to, it's a party. Fraternities for guys, sororities for women. It's a can of worms, man. So I know I was getting off topic. I didn't want to do that, but because I have a lot of content in my head and I gotta spew it out. You know, I'm just sorry I gotta spew it out. So, but going back quickly to tradespeople like myself. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest right here, right now, because I'm doing this for fun. But I didn't feel worthy of self until I hit my late 40s for all the criticism and all the rejection I got in my partying years, my 20s and my 30s, man. Go to parties, go to events, go to black tie events because I might be dating someone who's a college girl or a woman or who's got a job in corporate America, and I'm a grunt working for a company, a grocery store that I cut meat for a living. Tell you what, that was tough. That was a rough road. And there might be people out there that are watching this today that say, you know, Gary, you're right. That is a rough gig. It is a rough gig because people don't accept that it's not an acceptable career path for a lot of people, especially if they go to college and they're looking down their fucking nose at you. Trust me, I'm not jaded. I'm not jaded. I'm being a realistic individual as my personal experiences. You know? So, you know, in a bar scene, whether it be in my 20s or 30s, going to a bar, playing shuffleboard with people I don't know, or throwing darts or playing pool. What do you do for work? Well, I work for this company. I'm a meat. Well, you work for this company? Yeah. Well, do you work in the downtown office? No, I cut your meat. I cut your steaks that you put on your grill on the weekends with your friends. I'm a meat cutter. Oh, I got that a lot from women. Oh, really? Really? You're a meat cutter? Oh man, tell you what. But my mother was my cheerleader. She said, Gary, you have no idea. Because she used to see me get down on myself. Gary, you have no idea how many people count on you to take care of them. Take care of their food for the holidays. To cut that meat for them. To tie that roast. To give them cooking instructions how to cook that roast. Or to cook that pork loin. Or to do this or to do that. You have no idea, to my daughter, my mother said, you have no idea how valuable you are to people in the community. And I think that the reason why she said it is because she knew. She saw how we got treated. Grunts behind the counter with a white meat coat on with some blood on it from the apron. A lot of people. I think the people that that I met along the way that I would call my friends, solid friends, they saw through the bullshit. They said, I don't care if Gary cuts meat for a living. He's a decent guy. He's a lot of fun. He's twisted in the head. He's got a great sense of humor. He's a partier. He likes to fucking have fun. Yeah, I don't give a fuck what he does for a living. He owns a car with no car payment. He has a house with a mortgage. He's an accepted member of society, in my opinion. But a lot of women went the other route and went for the guy with a white collar, tie, had a solid job downtown. But so in Western society, that's an accepted form of an education level. Now, education, I think that everyone should graduate high school. Even get a GED if you didn't graduate high school. But I think that from kindergarten to 12th grade, that's an accepted form of an education. That's solid. If you could say I graduated high school or got my GED, that's acceptable. I think that that's something we should all accomplish. To go off to a university or college afterwards and go into college debt, whether your parents go in debt with college, or if you get a grant and you go for free, or you go into debt because you wanted to go to college, and then you're making payments on your college loan for the rest of your fucking life. That's a choice. To do an extended education, a university, that's a choice. My dad told me, because he was in big business his whole life. I know I'm rambling. I've got a lot of content, and I don't want this thing to go long. My dad was in big business, and he would say to me, and it didn't help my ego. It didn't help my self-esteem. He'd say, well, to have a college education at my level, because I'm a boss in my company, to have a college education and have a piece of paper come across my desk that says that he or she started and finished something and accomplished 4 years of college says a lot about the individual applying for work in my job, son. So saying that, giving that story to your son, who's a tradesman, that doesn't do a lot for his self-esteem, Pops. Fuck me. And I don't think he thought about it when he said it. Here's his son. He bartended, he waited on tables, he was a busboy, he did body work, he pumped gas, and now he's a meat cutter for a very reputable company. These are things that you should be proud of your son. Be proud of your son. Don't beat him down and say, well, an accepted form of education, whether it be a diploma, blah, blah, puke and puke some more. You don't want to hear that. I have an older brother, I have an older sister, and a younger brother all went off to college. And then I didn't. Now my dad has dementia. He's in a home. He's in a memory care facility. Now I hear from him out of his lips, son, out of all my children, you did it right. I'm like, what? What did you just say? 89 years old. Yeah, son, out of all my children, you did it right. I'm like, I'm looking at him, I'm speechless. Really? You're just telling me this now? I'm retired? Well, son, you got a good pension. It took care of you. You got good Social Security. You got taken care of. Out of all my children, you did it right. Now you tell me. Come the fuck on. Now you tell me? I don't know. I guess the point I'm trying to get across today in this episode is, I know it's more of a serious episode than most of my other episodes, but is that you don't have to go to college to prove yourself in Western society. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to spend 4 years in debt, school loans, and you don't have to prove anything to anybody. Follow your gut. I know you've heard that from me before. If you haven't heard from me, I know you've heard from other people. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. What do you want to do? I want to go to work for a grocery store. I want to learn how to make those cupcakes. I want to learn how to bake cookies. That's what I want to learn how to do. There's nothing wrong with that. The job I had was a good fucking job, people. I had a solid career with a very good company. It was in a grocery store. It was a union. Although I'm not all about unions, but they protect your job. Mostly they protect the losers, but they had a good job, man. And my company paid for my pension. I worked towards a pension. 36 years with the same company. That is the pinnacle. That's an accomplishment. And the only cheerleader I had was my mom. That's a crying shame right there. And I had to wait till my dad was 89 in a memory care facility to hear him say, "Oh, I was proud of you, son." Really? Fuck. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't let anyone tell you what to do. When you graduate high school, or even before that, if you have a dream, if you have something you know you want to do, whether it be a blacksmith for horses, changing shoes, that's a trade. Or to be a dog groomer, that's a trade. That's a skill. Or a seamstress, or a makeup artist, or a hairdresser, or a candlestick maker. Any kind of trade is a skill, and no one can take that skill away from you. The one thing I miss the most about being retired is I'm not going to be able to pick up a cutting knife anymore and cut. I used to love cutting meat. Used to love cutting meat. That was fun. I enjoyed it. I was good at it. I was proud of how I was able to make a piece of meat look really good and to have someone look at it in the case and go, "God damn, that strip steak looks like, fuck, I want to put that in the grill right now, honey. What do you think? Let's buy a couple of those strip steaks." You know how that made me feel when I sold them? That made me feel proud of myself that I was able to perform a task with my company to cut a nice piece of meat, and knowing that those people like my work. And they're taking it home to cut it, to eat it, put it on the grill. They don't have to know that I cut it. I know I cut it. I was proud of what I did. Still am to this day. So anyway, that's all I got. I want to make this short and sweet. So I know I haven't recorded anything in a minute, but I got a lot going on, as we all do through the holidays. My Bengals are out of it because they suck dick. They're fucking horrible. Fucking horrible. Fucking suck. So right after they lost the Buffalo Bills last Sunday, I called my cable company to turn off my TV service. No more. I only turn it on for football, but I won't turn it on ever again. I will never support the Cincinnati Bengals ever again. As a matter of fact, I won't even worry about watching the fucking Super Bowl. I'd rather watch figure skating in Scotland. Can you see that? Scotland guys out there wearing these dresses with figure skates. Wouldn't that be fucking hilarious? I'd rather watch that. I'd rather watch monkeys in a circus than watch fucking professional football. Anyway, that's all I got. I don't go into that. That's a whole nother story completely. A whole other can of worms. You guys, if I don't talk to you before Christmas, I probably won't. I might stop in for a minute. Enjoy the holiday. Be safe out there. Don't drink and drive. Get an Uber. Better get a friend like me who doesn't drink. I'll drive you around. And take care of yourselves and each other. Peace out.